5:19 local time, somewhere over the Caribbean Sea. A faint surface contact appears at the edge of the radar screen, small, low, and moving with unusual purpose. No AIS signal, no broadcast identification, no visible flag through the optics, just a narrow radar return cutting across open water faster than expected. The watch officer leans closer. Every sweep updates the range. The contact holds a steady north-northwest course, its speed climbing past 20 knots. In this corridor, that stands out. Ordinary traffic does not race through here. It moves with a schedule, not with urgency. The radar technician calls it in. One small surface contact, low displacement, bearing steady. The plotter marks the track. The closest point of approach is not getting closer. It is moving farther away. That tells the crew something important. This vessel is not drifting into a shipping lane by chance. It is choosing open water. On the bridge, the officer of the deck stays calm. There is no visible reaction because none is needed. The ship does not change its posture, but the flow of information sharpens. From this moment on, every update matters. Electro-optical cameras lock onto the contact. Through the morning haze, the image slowly takes shape. A slim hull, low freeboard, faded paint, no visible fishing gear, no wake pattern that matches trolling. It looks civilian, but it is not moving like a normal civilian craft. Radio calls go out on international distress and bridge-to-bridge channels. Clear, professional, repeated, no answer. That silence is recorded in the Combat Information Center. Analysts begin building the profile. Length under 40 feet, twin outboard engines, a fuel load large enough to support high speed, but not true long-range travel. The wake is clean, narrow, and controlled. This is not a pleasure boat, and it does not appear to be lost. The contact accelerates again, reaching 25 knots. The bow lifts slightly under power. That small movement says a lot. The hull is carrying weight. The track supervisor states it plainly. Heavy load, small boat, high speed. No response. No one challenges the assessment. This stretch of sea has a reputation. Sailors call it a funnel. Routes from the south tighten here before spreading out again farther north. Anyone trying to move unseen has to push through this narrow space and hope nobody is watching. But someone is watching. The naval vessel holds its course. No dramatic turn. No sudden chase. Not yet. The goal is confirmation, not reaction. Another radio call is sent, still nothing. Then the contact makes a subtle course change, 5 degrees to port. Not a panic move, not a sharp break, just enough to test whether anyone is paying attention. They are. The captain steps onto the bridge wing with binoculars already raised. He does not ask for an explanation. He does not need one. The right information has already reached the right place. Log the maneuver, he says, calm and even. Below, the Combat Information Center updates the track. The boat's route is not random. It is moving between known shipping lanes and staying away from predictable patrol patterns. Whoever is at the controls knows these waters. That knowledge no longer gives them much room. The watch officer orders the aviation detachment to stand by. No launch yet, just readiness. The message is quiet but clear. This contact matters. The surface picture updates again. Speed rises to 28 knots. That is enough. The officer of the deck gives a single nod. The contact is classified as a runner. The word goes into the log. Runner does not mean dangerous. It does not mean proven wrongdoing. It means intent. It means the vessel has decided that distance is its best option. On the camera feed, the deck becomes visible. 3 figures can be seen bracing against the motion. No life jackets, no nets, no coolers. Only people holding on as the engines drive the boat forward. The naval vessel still does not chase. Instead, it measures everything. Wind, sea state, relative motion, time, every detail that could matter if the situation develops. The ocean remains quiet. No alarms, no raised voices, just the steady rhythm of a ship doing exactly what it was built to do. Detect, track, decide. The small boat keeps running. It does not yet understand how little open water remains. It has no idea how much of its story has already been told by radar returns, wake patterns, and a silence louder than any radio reply. Up on the bridge, the captain lowers his binoculars. "Keep eyes on," he says. "This one is not stopping on its own." The destroyer adjusts speed only slightly. Far ahead, the small boat slams across the open water, engines fully opened, already locked into a decision it can no longer take back. The pursuit has not truly begun, but the space for escape is already starting to disappear. No margin. The distance between the destroyer and the runner stretches, then steadies. On paper, the small boat should have the advantage. It is lighter, faster in a straight line, and built for a simple purpose. Move cargo quickly, then vanish before anyone can respond. But that idea is already behind the situation. On the bridge, the officer of the deck orders a controlled increase in speed, not a sprint, not a dramatic charge, just enough to keep the angles clean and the options open. The destroyer does not need to close the distance yet. It needs to control it. Inside the Combat Information Center, the picture becomes sharper with every sweep of the radar. The runner is not heading toward port. It is not turning toward cover. It is pushing deeper into open water, trusting speed and distance to solve the problem. That is the mistake. The aviation detachment moves into readiness. The blades are not turning yet, but the crew is already in motion. Helmets on, checklists out. Every step measured, practiced, and quiet. The helicopter is not being used as a show of force. It is being placed into position. Electro-optical sensors remain locked on the contact. The camera feed steadies as the range narrows just enough to reveal more detail. The hull rides low. The engines are working hard. The wake tells its own story. Long, narrow, and disciplined. This is not panic. This is practice. The track supervisor gives another update. The runner is maintaining high speed. Course steady. The destroyer replies without speaking. Data moves through the ship. Calculations tighten. Time, distance, fuel, weather, and motion all come together into one picture. Whether the runner understands it or not, small boats survive on margins. Fuel capacity, engine heat, sea conditions. Every minute at full throttle eats into all of them. The destroyer does not share those limits. Another radio call goes out. Clear, professional, recorded. Still no answer. The captain studies the surface display on the bridge repeater. He has seen this pattern before. Different hull, different crew, same idea. Run hard now. Hope the larger ship hesitates. Trust the ocean to be wide enough to hide in? It is not. At 5:34, the aviation officer reports ready. The captain gives a single nod. Launch. The helicopter rises cleanly from the deck and climbs into the morning light. It does not rush straight ahead. Instead, it arcs wide, gaining altitude and reach while keeping the situation controlled. The message is not pressure, it is awareness. From above, everything changes. The runner's path becomes easy to read, traced across the water in white spray and fading exhaust. The helicopter's sensors capture the scene in detail. Heat from the engines burns bright. The hull shudders under the load. The people on deck move with tight, focused purpose. The pilot keeps distance, safe, legal, clear. The radio call from the aircraft repeats the hail. The voice is calm, the wording standard, the delivery controlled. No emotion, no pressure in the tone, and still no reply. The runner does not change course, but its wake tightens. The bow lifts again. The engines are being pushed beyond their comfort zone. Down in the Combat Information Center, the analysts catch it immediately. Fuel burn is rising fast. Engine strain shows clearly on the thermal feed. This pace cannot last. The destroyer adjusts again, not matching the runner's speed, but matching the geometry. It stays exactly where it needs to be. Close enough to control the situation, far enough to keep everything measured. This is not a race, it is a slow squeeze. At 5:41, the runner makes its first serious move. A hard turn to starboard. It is not random. It is a practiced attempt to force new calculations, disrupt tracking, and create a few seconds of uncertainty. It fails. The helicopter slides sideways and keeps the same relative position. The destroyer holds steady. Inside the Combat Information Center, the track updates without hesitation. The runner straightens out and accelerates again. 30 knots now, maybe more. The bridge remains quiet. The captain does not raise his voice. He does not need to. The systems are doing exactly what they were built to do. Layer information, remove uncertainty, and leave the small boat with fewer options every minute. From above, the crew count is confirmed. 3 individuals, no visible safety gear, no exposed deck cargo. Whatever matters is hidden below. That detail speaks for itself. The aviation officer passes the assessment. The boat is heavy, not set up for fishing, and still not responding. The captain answers with one word: copy. Minutes pass. The sea remains calm. The runner keeps pushing, but the signs are becoming obvious to anyone trained to read them. The engines no longer sound as sharp. The turns are not as clean. The margin is getting smaller. Speed alone is no longer enough. Ahead, the ocean looks wide and empty. To the people on the small boat, it may still feel like open freedom. From the destroyer's bridge and the helicopter above, it looks more like a corridor with invisible walls closing in. The pursuit is no longer about catching up. It is about waiting for fuel, weight, and physics to do their work. 5:49 local time. The runner's speed drops by 2 knots. It is subtle, almost impossible to notice by eye, but the systems catch it instantly. Fuel burn is taking its toll. Engine heat is climbing. The advantage that kept the boat ahead is starting to fade. This is the opening. The helicopter descends, not aggressively, but with purpose. Its altitude lowers in controlled steps until it is close enough for the crew below to understand the message in the rotor wash moving across the water. Still no direct overflight, still no unnecessary pressure, just presence. From the cockpit, the pilot keeps the nose slightly offset from the runner's bow, close enough to be impossible to ignore, far enough to remain inside every line of procedure. The radio call goes out again, clear, calm, final in tone. Unidentified vessel, reduce speed immediately and prepare for inspection. The words are measured. They have been spoken countless times in waters like these. There is no response. Instead, the runner surges again. The engines flare, exhaust darkens. The boat bucks under its own effort, trying to reclaim speed it no longer has. In the Combat Information Center, the assessment updates in real time. The boat is no longer maneuvering cleanly. Each correction is wider. Each turn costs more energy. The systems do not guess. They observe. The captain watches the helicopter feed on the bridge repeater. He does not look surprised. He looks patient. Proceed with visual signal, he says. The helicopter slides slightly forward, mapping the runner's course. The crew chief readies the laser marker. It is non-lethal, purely visual, and impossible to miss. A sharp green point appears on the runner's deck. Steady, deliberate. It moves once across the bow, then settles on the cabin. This is the moment the crew on the small boat understands, even if they refuse to show it. They are being seen, not generally, not from a distance, precisely. Still, the runner does not stop. The helm jerks again. Another attempt to break away, another push for space. The wake spreads wide as the hull fights through the turn. Below deck on the destroyer, nobody rushes. There is no shouting, no confusion, just a quiet shift in posture as the next steps begin exactly as planned. On the forecastle, the 5-inch mount rotates only a few degrees, not to create a scene, just enough to be noticed. A message without a single word attached. The helicopter holds its position. The green marker stays steady. The radio call repeats with the same calm wording. First in English, then in Spanish. Silence. At 5:57, the runner's speed drops again. This time, it does not recover. 23 knots, then 21. The engines are losing the argument. From above, the helicopter crew sees it clearly. One of the men on deck looks back, not toward the destroyer, but toward the aircraft overhead. The glance lasts a second longer than before. That glance is recorded. The runner tries one final move. It cuts power suddenly, then surges forward again, hoping to disrupt timing and create an opening. But the move is rough. It costs more speed than it gains. The destroyer closes slightly, still controlled, still measured. Not to intimidate, but to remove doubt. Inside the Combat Information Center, the update comes in. Runner decelerating, no effective maneuvering. The captain gives a small nod. This is it, he says, not really to anyone in particular. The helicopter drops lower, now clearly ahead of the runner's bow. Rotor wash strikes the water. Spray lifts across the small boat's deck. The green marker passes once more across the cabin window. The message is complete. At last, the runner's engines ease back. The bow settles. The wake shortens. It is not a dramatic ending. It is the result of exhaustion. At 6:01, the boat drops below 15 knots, then 12. The destroyer holds position. The helicopter remains steady overhead. No celebration, no raised voices, only confirmation. The runner settles into a slow, uneven line. No longer trying to escape, no longer pretending the situation is still undecided. On the bridge, the captain gives the next order. Prepare the boarding team. The final exit, the one built only on speed and distance, is gone. The pursuit does not end with impact. It does not end with a dramatic final moment. It ends the way many of these encounters do, with pressure, physics, and a decision made too late to change the outcome. 6:08 local time. The sea is calm again. The runner sits low in the water, engines idling unevenly, no longer pointed anywhere with purpose. From a distance, it almost looks harmless. Up close, it tells a different story. On the destroyer's starboard side, the rigid hull inflatable boat is lowered with practiced precision. No wasted movement, no raised voices. The boarding team moves as one. Helmets secure, gloves on, radios checked. Equipment is present, but nothing is theatrical. This is not about creating a scene. It is about control. The rigid hull inflatable boat accelerates smoothly, skimming across the fading wake. The helicopter stays overhead, offset and watchful. Cameras rolling, every second time-stamped. Nothing here is informal, nothing is left to memory. As the rigid hull inflatable boat closes in, the 3 men aboard the runner go still. Their hands stay visible. Their movements become slow and careful. The look on their faces is not defiance. It is calculation giving way to inevitability. The coxswain brings the boat alongside with practiced control. Lines are passed. A hand catches the rail. The first sailor steps onto the deck. Coast Guard, United States Navy, remain where you are. The words are steady, neutral, unemotional. The men comply. They are separated at once and placed where they can be seen clearly. No sudden movements, no resistance. Their eyes follow the sailors for a moment, then fall toward the deck. They know the routine. That detail says plenty. The boarding officer begins the sweep forward, then works aft. He does not hurry. He does not assume. He checks. The deck is almost empty. No fishing gear, no coolers, no ordinary personal items beyond the bare minimum. The hatches are sealed with fresh hardware, the edges taped tight. That is the next sign. The officer kneels and taps one of the hatches. Solid. He looks up, meets another sailor's eyes, and gives a small nod. The hatch is opened. The smell reaches them first. Not fuel, not salt air. Plastic, tape, and dry air sealed away for too long. Inside the hold, the packages are arranged with careful precision. Square bundles, uniform size, wrapped in layer after layer. Plastic, burlap, more plastic. Triple sealed, waterproof. Built to survive days at sea without falling apart. Now there is no question. One bundle is lifted out. It is heavier than it looks. Dense. The wrapping is opened only enough to confirm what everyone already understands. Off-white compressed blocks sit inside, packed tight and marked with stamped symbols. The kind of markings meant for people who already know how to read them. Illegal cargo. The count begins immediately. 1, 2, 3. The number keeps climbing. 19 bundles in total, packed to use every inch of space and keep the boat balanced. No filler, no wasted room, no accidental arrangement. This was not a small run. Each bundle is documented exactly where it is found. Photographed, tagged, time logged, position logged, hands visible in every frame. The record begins here, not later. The boarding officer reports up in a calm, factual voice. Confirmed illegal cargo, significant quantity. Back on the destroyer, the reply is short. Copy. The estimate comes together quickly. Weight, packaging quality, route, indicators from the field test. All of it points in the same direction. Estimated market value, approximately $98 million. On the runner, the three men say nothing. They do not argue. They do not deny. There is no space left for a story that changes anything. The evidence is sitting below their feet. They are searched, secured, and seated where they can be watched. Their faces are photographed. Their hands are checked. Every step is procedural. Nothing is personal. Overhead, the helicopter tightens its orbit while the evidence is transferred one bundle at a time. Carefully, methodically, no shortcuts, no drama. On the destroyer's deck, the packages are laid out in neat rows under the open sky. Sunlight reflects off the plastic wrap. To an untrained eye, it might look like ordinary cargo. To the sailors, it looks like consequence. Each bundle represents planning, money, handlers, promises, and people somewhere waiting for a shipment that will never arrive. One interdiction does not end that world, but it interrupts it. The runner is searched again from bow to stern, compartments checked, fuel tanks tapped, hidden spaces inspected. Nothing else of note is found. This crew was carrying exactly what they came to carry. When the sweep is complete, the boarding officer gives the signal. Mission phase complete. The suspects are transferred under guard. The runner is secured for towing and formal transfer. Its engines are silent now, their final effort already spent. On the bridge, the captain watches the last movement on the repeater. His expression does not change. There is no celebration in it. Only confirmation. Another shipment stopped, another route exposed, another quiet disruption made far from the spotlight, but close enough to matter. The sea stays calm. The destroyer holds station, and on the deck below, cargo worth approximately $98 million sits motionless under the sun, going nowhere. 6:14 local time. The operation does not end when the final bundle leaves the runner's hold. That is only the part people can see. What follows is slower, quieter, and just as precise. On the destroyer's deck, the recovered packages are placed under watch. Each one is checked again. Weight confirmed, markings recorded, seals inspected. Every detail matters because this is not only an interception, it is evidence. The detained men are moved below, separated, and monitored. No speeches, no dramatic exchanges. That is not the crew's role. Their job is custody, documentation, and control. The ocean does not care about motives. Procedure does not either. The runner itself is prepared for tow and transfer. Lines are rigged. Hull condition is checked. Fuel is secured. What had been built for speed now sits powerless, reduced to part of the record. Above it all, the helicopter finally turns away and heads back toward the destroyer. Its part is complete. Hours of footage, sensor data, and time-marked proof are already saved, copied, and secured. That is what matters later, long after the wake disappears behind the ship. From the bridge, the captain watches the surface picture return to routine. No new contacts, no surprises. The sea begins to look empty again. That is how these missions usually end. To the crew, this was not an extraordinary day. It followed a pattern shaped over years. Detect early, classify correctly, apply pressure without panic. Let systems, time, and physics do what speed alone cannot. The run failed for the same reason it usually does. Speed is temporary. Systems are not. The men on the runner believed distance would protect them once they broke away. They believed the ocean was wide enough to erase their path. What they underestimated was how little of that ocean is truly unseen. Radar does not get tired. Cameras do not blink. Aircraft do not need to catch you to control the situation. They only need to stay where you cannot ignore them. By the time the runner understood that, the outcome had already narrowed. Every attempt to go faster burned fuel they could not replace. Every turn took momentum they could not get back. And every minute of silence made the result more certain. From beginning to end, no shot was fired. That is not luck. That is design. On paper, the value of the operation will be counted in money. $98 million that will not move forward. $98 million that will not fund the next route, the next crew, or the next hidden shipment. But the real impact lands somewhere else. Routes get questioned. Schedules fall apart. Trust weakens. Someone far above the water now has to explain why a shipment crossed into open sea and never returned. Those conversations do not happen on deck. They happen far from the ocean. As the destroyer resumes patrol, the crew returns to routine. Watches rotate. Helm reliefs change. Maintenance checks begin again. The ship does not slow down for a victory lap. There is none. This is what maritime interdiction really looks like. No flashing lights, no cinematic ending, just layered awareness, discipline, and patience applied until there is nowhere left to go. Out on the horizon, the ocean hides nothing. The wake from the operation fades behind the ship, replaced by calm water and morning sunlight. The runner will not make another sprint. The cargo will not reach its destination. And the men who believe speed could buy them freedom will understand how narrow that margin really was. Somewhere else, another boat may already be loading. Another crew may already be telling themselves the same story. If they move fast enough, they will be gone before anyone notices. They are mistaken, because out here, the outcome is not decided by who runs the hardest, it is decided by who is already watching.